Forgive my lack of enthusiasm on this one, but we are back at the Apex again, this time with the UFC Vegas 80 Dawson versus Green. What a crummy ass main event this is. All in all though, this isn't the worst of Fight Night cards, as I'll be getting into now. We will do our best to find some value. Quick shout out again to Making the Walk MMA. Check them out. Great channel. Let's go. Ugh, gross. Fine. You know how your boy rolls on fights of this nature. Montana De La Rosa is the favorite and being picked by 70% of people on Tapology. Sorry, but nah, this one smells fishy to me. It is actually a decent matchup, and that they are both equally pointless. Both are difficult to finish, and both are not great at finishing. I know JJ got one against that Chinese bird, Liang I think her name was. Did nothing to convince me though. Betting on either one of these subhumans will end in a nervous wait on the scorecards for you. So do yourself a favor and take the over 2.5 on this one. There's going to be a lot of scissoring in this one. Alright, this is a more tricky one than it appears. I know Maness has been getting slapped up recently, but it was against really good competition. Well, Umar was. Ulanbekov, while pretty mid, was a flyweight attempt for Maness, and I don't like him at that weight class. Maness at bantamweight is a better weight for him, but my issue with him is that, and this might sound a little bit harsh, he fights a little bit like a pussy. No killer instinct is in this man, despite how skilled he actually is. His opponent, on the other hand, is quite the vicious little prick, and that's why I have to side with him. Maness is arguably more skilled and well-rounded than his opponent, but I have to side with the man that not only has the bigger bollocks, but it's going to be going in there with a lot more confidence. Mendonca on the money line is the one for me. Ugh, another one. I picked against Demopoulos when she fought Jinyu Frey, and she got the robbery. I then picked for her against Karolina Kowalkeiwicz, and she got absolutely slapped up by her. So I'm going to be flip-flopping again here. I'm going to take Murato on the money line. She has wins against Dakota and Randa Marcos quite recently, who despite the crappy looking record is alright. She's a very accurate striker. She's coming in at about 74%. And considering how horrifically bad Vanessa looked getting pieced up by Karolina, I don't like the matchup for her standing. And Murata is even more competent a wrestler and on the ground. She's taken some time off after an unfortunate injury, but that actually might work for her here. I don't think Demopoulos is very good. Her face annoys me. She thinks she's cute. She's not. I hope she gets wonged. Alright, this is our first pink slip match of the night, ladies and gentlemen. To be honest, if I was in charge, they would have both been taken out to the back of the barn, old Yeller style. Aori Qileng is 30, but has already had an insane 34 professional fights. He's known for either smashing guys or getting smashed, making him an absolute nightmare to bet on. He also has a tendency to fade later on in fights, starting well and then getting worn out. He's far more experienced than Munoz, who has fought better guys. He's also shown he can brutally finish people, whereas Munoz is not really terrible, but just has nothing special about him. I would not bet on this fight, but I have to pick the Mongolian murderer on this one, and I have a feeling he's going to catch Munoz. Right, you know when you get like a litter of puppies and one of them is just massively bigger than the others and has some unnaturally large mitts on him, steals food from all the other puppies? Yeah, that's Montel Jackson at bantamweight. The man has a 67-inch reach in the midget division and absolutely massive paws. Now I like Gutierrez. He has really nasty leg kicks and a decent wrestling game, but Jackson is pretty tough to take down, and with the freaky advantages that he possesses on the feet with that reach, I have to side with him. Gutierrez is very tough to finish, and I like this to also go over the 2.5, so those are the options I'm basically laying out. I like Jackson to have the more damaging moments, picking at range in at least 2 of the rounds, but for Gutierrez to have enough to hang about till the end and make this one really tough. Yeah, this is a really tough one for me because, let's be real, Belbita is hot as fuck, and we know that has affected my judgment at times. Karolina was once a dime piece, but now kind of resembles the witch from Hansel and Gretel. Is this relevant to how the fight should go? Of course not. But what is in women's MMA? Karolina is the far more skilled striker, but Belbita is younger, has the better reach, and can be quite vicious at times. I quite like the fact that she tends to fire straight strikes down the pipe rather than winging shots like a Mong. She is very weak on the ground, but Carolina is going to want to keep this standing. Both women can take a bit of a thumping, and while I think Belbita might edge it, I don't really trust her. I'm going to cop out again on this one and take the plus 2.5. Neither women are particularly scary finishers, and I like money. I'm going to take Algeo. Hernandez is capable of banging people out, but Algeo is tough as nails and has a far better gas tank. Hernandez is not a featherweight and needs to stop yo-yoing up and down the divisions. I would honestly not be surprised if he had a shocking weight cut and didn't make it. Hernandez's best chance is to catch Billy flush in the first round, and Algeo is a pretty smart and careful fighter early on. He has more tools to win, and I expect a pretty close first and for Algeo to take over as Hernandez puffs himself out. I can see Algeo getting to the back at some point, threatening subs and potentially choking his dumbass out in the second round. Moneyline is the official pick though. I do like Algeo to win this. He just has more ways to win. Alright, now Cutalaba should have every advantage here. He's the more active and powerful striker. He has a better wrestling offensive game and is far more vicious in there. The issue is that the man is a fucking brain donor. He's up there for having one of the lowest fighting IQs in the UFC. The man is a fucking moron. Could he go out there and starch Lins? Definitely. He also has a bad habit though of blowing his load and gassing out and then making really bad decisions. And if he doesn't get Lins out of there in the first, he's going to get smoked after that. He's all about the sprint. For me, for that reason, my bet is on this not really going the distance. Either the bird brain smashes in the first or blows his wad and gets wiped out in the second. The under seems to have the biggest potential here, or for the fight not to finish. Alright, now I know Rick Glenn isn't black, but I'm still picking Dober for this fight. Before you come at me for that comment, comb through Dober's record. I'm not the only person that's noticed it. Glenn actually looked alright for a while in the UFC, but the way he got spanked around like a piñata by Giagos is a genuine worry. He looked like he had a lobotomy just before the cage walk. Drew Dober was on a nice little run before he got caught and smashed by the Steamroller, who carries that nickname for a reason, so it's hardly a shameful loss. I reckon if those men fight 10 times, we likely get a 50-50 split, and it just wasn't Dober's night that night. For me, Dober's more powerful, more vicious, has the tank, and I just think is a level up on Glenn in every department. Dober can shut the lights out, but is more than capable of chatting his way to a decision. At minus 470, would I touch it? Probably not, but he should win on the money line. Alright, I don't care what these men look like standing next to each other. This one is risky. Now, if you watch Morono in there, he looks like he should be fucking shit. Goofy looking striking and feints, gormless hangdog expression on his face. But the man is an incredibly effective, accurate, and high volume striker that is just so tricky to deal with. I am going to take Buckley to win, but I am not majorly confident. His wrestling game has leveled up. He has the reach and is far more athletic. Morono's only path to beating Buckley is to outvolue him and not get caught, whereas Buckley has 3 rounds to smash his face in, but can also resort to wrestling and control if he struggles to send his P-head into fucking orbit. I'm taking Buckley. He's faced better competition and is leveling up every time, but as goofy as Morono looks, is a real threat. Bet with extreme caution. Alright, I'm not going to get into this now because this video will end up taking all fucking day. I'll just summarize by saying, I do not like that man, Joe Pyfer. Crying over his injury and past to leverage getting the biggest dose of Dana White privilege that would make Chandler and Colby jealous is part of it. Dana clearly has a type. This is a stylistic gift for him. I guess I had to get into it a little. We all know what Alhassan brings to the table. He's either going to smash you out or get smashed out, and he's far too old now to be a threat to Pyfer in my opinion, and is just being put in there to make Dana's new favourite toy look pretty good. While I do dislike the man, and I think he'd fit in on American Idol real well, he is a good fighter. He works on his craft in the regional wrestling scene and jiu-jitsu exhibitions, and has that in his arsenal, and I'd give him the edge striking with Alhassan as well. At minus 470, I think that's a way overpay, and frankly, I hope he gets battered. Grown men should not take handouts. I think I'll have to wait though for that particular itch to be scratched. Alright, I like both fighters, but this is a weak as piss main event and a crappy matchup. Maybe somebody can explain the logic of this one to me, because I just don't get how this gets booked. We have Dawson improving from fight to fight, breaks the top 15 after dominating Demir Ismagulov, matched with Green, who was getting caught by Gordon before headbutting the unlucky prick, then having a fairly competitive win over a washed-as-fuck Tony Ferguson. Green has decent takedown defense, but generally does very poorly against accomplished wrestlers, and Dawson is looking elite in that regard. I think Dawson's stand-up will be good enough to keep Green guessing, and then he times takedowns and spends time abusing Green on the ground. Dawson does have a habit of playing with his food and taking his time, so a stoppage is not a guarantee, but I expect him to wear Green down and either stop him later in the fight or simply flush on the cards. Alright, it's time for a roundup. The official picks: Rosa Aldrich over 2.5. I've got Mendonca, Murato on the money line. I've got Linz and Cutalaba ending by finish. I've got Dober on the money line, Pyfer and Dawson on the money line. The ones I'm not too sure about would be Jackson against Gutierrez. He is tough. Algeo against Hernandez. He has the ability to crack in the first round. And as goofy as Morono looks, the guy's not bad. So it is a risky one. Alright, so again, the record, as we know, is 252, 116. Win percentage 69%. It's really good to be back. Looking forward to breaking this down on Saturday. Have a great rest of the week, people.